Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're diving deep into the annals of SCP history, specifically looking at SCP-500, the panacea that surprisingly is harder to get your hands on than a decent night's sleep sometimes feels. Picture this. You're lying in bed. Maybe the fan is whirring softly in the background here in Tom Jeep at this late hour. The air is thick with the humidity of a Vietnamese night, and you're just tossing and turning, wishing for something, anything, to make you feel completely better, instantly. Well, SCP-500 is essentially that wish and pill form, except, it's locked down tighter than Fort Knox. You probably wouldn't last 5 minutes trying to snag one, let alone understand its full history. So before you get too comfortable imagining yourself cured of all your ailments with a single capsule, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy the strange and unsettling journeys we take together here. And while you're at it, drop a comment below and let me know where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see the global reach of our little community. Now turn off those bright lights, let the ambient noise soothe your mind, and let's step into the shadowy history of SCP-500. You find yourself standing in a sterile, white hallway. The air is cool and smells faintly of antiseptic. Each footstep echoes softly as you move forward, the only sound besides the low hum of the ventilation system. You can feel a slight tension in the air, a sense of secrets held within these walls. To your left and right, identical doors line the corridor, each marked with a simple identification number. You know instinctively that behind one of these doors lies something extraordinary, something that could change everything. You continue down the hallway, passing door after door. Some are labeled with familiar scientific terms, others with cryptic codes that offer no clue to what lies within. You notice a small security camera swiveling in the corner of the ceiling, its unblinking lens following your every move. It's a subtle reminder that you are not alone here, that every action is being observed. Suddenly, you reach a door marked SCP-500. It looks no different from the others, just a metal slab with a digital keypad beside it and a small slot for a keycard. You can feel a slight quickening of your pulse. This is it. This is what you've come for. The legendary panacea. The official documentation states that SCP-500 is a small, red pill. When ingested, it effectively cures the subject of all diseases, infections, parasites, viruses, toxins, and even genetic disorders. It can heal wounds in an accelerated manner, mend broken bones within hours, and even reverse the effects of radiation poisoning. In essence, it's a cure-all, a medical miracle in capsule form. However, access to SCP-500 is strictly controlled. Due to its immense potential and the inherent risks associated with its misuse, it is one of the most heavily guarded and researched items within the SCP Foundation's inventory. The exact method of its creation or origin remains unknown, adding to its mystique and the intense scrutiny it undergoes. One prevailing theory suggests it might be extraterrestrial in origin, while another posits it as the result of some incredibly advanced and potentially dangerous scientific experimentation. You reach out and touch the cold metal of the door. It feels solid, impenetrable. You wonder about the people who have stood in this exact spot before you, the researchers the security personnel, perhaps even those who were lucky enough to receive the miraculous red pill. What were their stories? What ailments did SCP-500 cure for them? A small, almost imperceptible scratching sound catches your attention. It seems to be coming from behind the door. You lean closer, straining your ears. Is it some kind of containment breach, or just the building settling? A shiver runs down your spine. This place, for all its sterile appearance, feels alive with unseen possibilities and potential dangers. You take a step back from the door, a sense of caution washing over you. You know that obtaining SCP-500 is not going to be easy. The Foundation doesn't just hand out miracle cures. There are protocols, procedures, layers of security designed to keep this anomaly contained, and you have a feeling that the scratching sound is just the first hint of the challenges that lie ahead. You decide to try the keypad. It requires a 5-digit code. You have no idea what it could be. Random numbers? A date? A sequence related to SCP-500 itself? You try entering 50,000, a naive attempt, but the red light above the keypad blinks stubbornly. Wrong code, of course. It wouldn't be this easy. You examine the door more closely. There's no visible lock cylinder, just the keypad and the keycard slot. This suggests a multi-layered security system, likely involving both electronic access and physical keys or cards. You run your fingers along the edges of the door, searching for any hidden panels or weaknesses, but the metal is smooth and seamless. A thought occurs to you. Perhaps there's some information nearby, some clue that could help you gain access. You scan the hallway again, your eyes searching for any anomaly, any deviation from the sterile uniformity. You notice a small, almost overlooked sign on the wall opposite the SCP-500 door. It reads, Level 3 clearance required. You don't have Level 3 clearance. Whatever that entails, you're certainly not privy to it. This confirms that accessing SCP-500 is beyond a simple walk-in and a button press. There are layers of bureaucracy and security protocols in place, for good reason, you suspect. Imagine the chaos if this cure-all fell into the wrong hands. The implications are staggering. Speaking of staggering, did you know that the SCP Foundation has a classification system for its anomalies, ranging from safe, easily contained, to Euclid, requires more resources to contain, to Keter, extremely difficult to contain and poses a significant threat? SCP-500 is classified as safe, surprisingly not because it's harmless, but because it is relatively easy to contain within its secure storage. The difficulty lies in accessing it, not in preventing it from escaping or causing widespread destruction. It's like having a priceless diamond locked in a vault. The diamond itself isn't dangerous, but getting to it is the challenge. You consider your options. You could try to force the door, but that would likely trigger alarms and bring unwanted attention. You could try to find another way in, perhaps through the ventilation system or a service tunnel, but that would require knowledge of the facility's layout, which you don't possess. Or you could try to find someone with the necessary clearance and somehow convince them to help you. The last option seems the most viable, albeit the most risky. Trusting anyone in a place like this feels like a gamble. As you ponder your next move, you hear footsteps approaching from down the hallway. They are measured and deliberate, the sound of polished shoes on the linoleum floor. You quickly step to the side, pressing yourself against the wall, hoping to remain unseen. You don't know who it is, but you have a feeling they are part of the Foundation staff, and being caught loitering outside SCP-500's containment chamber is probably not a good idea. The footsteps grow closer, and you hold your breath, your heart pounding in your chest. You can almost feel the presence of the person approaching, the subtle shift in the air pressure as they move. Who is it? What do they want? And more importantly, will they notice you? This sterile hallway, once seemingly empty, now feels claustrophobic, every shadow a potential hiding place, every sound a potential threat. The person rounds the corner, and you get a glimpse of them. It's a woman in a crisp, white lab coat, carrying a clipboard and a pen. She looks focused, her brow slightly furrowed as she scans the documents in her hand. She doesn't seem to notice you pressed against the wall. You breathe a silent sigh of relief. She walks past the SCP-500 door without even a glance, her attention fully absorbed in her work. As she disappears down the hallway, you realize this might be your opportunity. If you can somehow intercept her, perhaps you can learn something, anything that could help you. You cautiously step out from the wall and follow her at a distance, keeping your footsteps as quiet as possible. She turns into another corridor, and you quicken your pace to keep her in sight. The layout of this facility is like a maze, identical hallways branching off in various directions. It's easy to get disoriented. You notice a sign above the doorway she just entered, Research Sector Gamma. This could be significant. Perhaps the research conducted in this sector is related to SCP-500. It's a long shot, but it's the only lead you have right now. As you approach the doorway, you hear voices coming from inside. It sounds like a small group of people engaged in a discussion. You hesitate at the entrance, unsure whether to go in or not. Eavesdropping might be risky, but it could also provide valuable information. You decide to take the chance. You slowly and silently slip through the doorway, trying to remain unnoticed. The room is a small laboratory filled with various pieces of scientific equipment, microscopes, centrifuges, and computer monitors displaying complex data. 3 people are standing around a central table, looking at what appears to be a petri dish containing a reddish substance. One of them, a man with thinning hair and glasses, is speaking. The latest batch shows promising results. The regenerative properties seem to be even more potent than previous samples. Another person, a younger woman with a serious expression, replies, "But the rate of production is still incredibly slow. We only yielded 5 capsules this time. At this rate, it would take centuries to produce a significant quantity." The woman in the white coat you followed into the lab then speaks, her voice calm and authoritative. "We need to focus on understanding the mechanism of action. If we can replicate the process, we can increase production. The O5 Council is putting immense pressure on us to find a way to synthesize SCP-500, the O5 Council. You recognize the name from fragmented information you've pieced together. They are the shadowy figures who oversee the entire SCP Foundation, the ultimate authority. Their interest in synthesizing SCP-500 speaks volumes about its importance. You realize you've stumbled upon a research team actively working on the very anomaly you're trying to access. This is a stroke of luck, Or perhaps something more. Could this be your way in? Just then, the man with glasses turns his head slightly, as if he senses a presence. His eyes scan the room, and for a terrifying moment, you think he's seen you. You freeze, holding your breath, hoping you're hidden in the shadows. He turns back to the table, however, seemingly dismissing whatever caught his attention. You let out a silent breath you didn't realize you were holding. This was a close call. You need to be more careful. This whole situation reminds you of that time you tried to sneak into a movie theater without paying. You thought you were being so stealthy, only to trip over a popcorn bucket and land right at the feet of the ticket lady. Yeah, your track record for covert operations isn't exactly stellar. You're probably better suited for solving jigsaw puzzles than infiltrating top-secret facilities. You decide to risk staying a little longer, hoping to glean more information from their conversation. They continue to discuss the challenges of replicating SCP-500, the unknown factors involved, and the immense pressure they are under. The younger woman sighs. It's frustrating. We know it can cure almost anything, yet we can't figure out how it's made. It's like trying to reverse engineer magic. The woman in the white coat nods in agreement. Indeed, SCP-500 remains one of our most enigmatic and highly prized anomalies. Its potential benefits are immeasurable, but its secrets are stubbornly guarded. You realize the truth of her words. SCP-500 isn't just a pill, it's a mystery, a scientific enigma that the Foundation is desperately trying to unravel. And you, a complete outsider, are trying to get your hands on it. The audacity of your goal suddenly hits you, but the potential reward, a cure for anything, it's a powerful motivator. You need to find a way to leverage this situation, to use the information you've just overheard to your advantage. An idea begins to form in your mind. You could try to approach one of the researchers, perhaps the woman in the white coat, and explain your situation. It's a long shot and incredibly risky, but if you could somehow convince her of your need, or perhaps offer something in return, though what you could possibly offer the SCP Foundation is beyond you at the moment, it might be your only chance. You decide to focus on the woman in the white coat. She seems to be the one in charge, the one with the authority. If anyone could help you, it would likely be her. You wait for a break in their conversation, a moment when she is perhaps alone or slightly separated from the others. The discussion continues for a few more minutes, focusing on technical details you don't fully understand. They talk about cellular regeneration rates, enzyme activity, and unidentified compounds. It's clear they are at the cutting edge of some very advanced science. Finally, the woman in the white coat steps away from the table and walks towards a computer terminal in the corner of the lab. This is your chance. You take a deep breath and step fully into the room, making your presence known. The other two researchers turn towards you, startled. The man with glasses looks alarmed, his eyes widening behind his thick lenses. The younger woman adopts a defensive posture, her expression hardening. The woman in the white coat turns slowly, her gaze sharp and assessing. There's a moment of tense silence as she takes you in, her eyes lingering on your face. You can feel the weight of her scrutiny. "Who are you?" she asks, her voice calm but firm. "How did you get in here?" This is a restricted area. You need to think fast. You can't tell her the truth, that you're just some random person trying to steal a miracle cure. You need a believable story, and you need it now. My name is Alex, you say, trying to sound confident despite the tremor in your voice. I was looking for Dr. Albright. You pull a name out of thin air, hoping it sounds plausible. The woman raises an eyebrow. Dr. Albright? There's no Dr. Albright assigned to this sector. Her eyes narrow slightly. Who are you really? You can feel the pressure mounting. They're not buying it. You need to come up with something, and fast. I have information, you stammer. Information about SCP-500. The woman's expression shifts slightly, a flicker of interest in her eyes. The other two researchers exchange glances. You might have just bought yourself a little more time. What kind of information? The woman asks, her voice still cautious. You try to sound as convincing as possible. I know something about its origins, something that might help with your research. This is a complete fabrication, but you're hoping they're desperate enough to listen. The woman considers your words for a moment, her gaze unwavering. All right, Alex, you have my attention, but you better have something substantial or you'll be explaining yourself to security. You nod, trying to appear earnest. I do. I've been studying old texts, obscure research papers. I think I've found a connection, a possible source for SCP-500 that you might not be aware of. This is a complete bluff, but you're playing on their desire to understand the anomaly. The unknown origin of SCP-500 is a major point of interest, as you overheard earlier. The woman leans forward slightly, her interest piqued. A source? What kind of source? You hesitate for a moment, trying to come up with something that sounds vaguely scientific but isn't easily disproven. I believe it might be related to certain anomalous flora found in a remote region of South America. Again, you're just throwing out vague terms and locations. The man with glasses speaks up, his voice filled with skepticism. Anomalous flora? We've explored numerous potential sources, both terrestrial and extraterrestrial. What makes you think this is any different? You try to sound knowledgeable. These aren't just any plants. These are bioluminescent with unique genetic structures that bear a striking resemblance to the active compounds found in SCP-500. You're just stringing together scientific-sounding words, hoping they don't press you for specifics. The younger woman looks unconvinced. Do you have any evidence to support this claim? Any samples? Any documentation? You shake your head. Not with me. It's all theoretical, based on my research. The woman in the white coat studies you intently. You can feel her piercing gaze, weighing your every word. This is the crucial moment. If she doesn't believe you, you're likely going to be in serious trouble. All right, Alex, she says slowly. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that you're telling the truth. What exactly do you hope to gain from this? This is your opening. You need to tread carefully. You can't reveal your true intention. To steal SCP-500, you need a different angle. I want to help, you say, trying to sound sincere. I believe my research could be valuable to your efforts. I want to collaborate, to contribute to understanding this incredible phenomenon. The woman considers your offer, her expression unreadable. The other two researchers look at each other, still clearly suspicious. Collaborate? The man with glasses scoffs. You break into a restricted research lab and expect us to believe you want to collaborate. You try to maintain your composure. I know it looks bad, you admit. But I assure you, my intentions are genuine. I'm fascinated by SCP-500, and I believe I can offer a unique perspective. The woman in the white coat raises her hand, silencing the man with glasses. She turns back to you. If you truly have information that could be helpful, then perhaps we can discuss this further. But first, her gaze hardens. You're going to have to tell me who you really are and how you found out about this facility. You know you can't keep up the charade much longer. You're cornered. But perhaps, just perhaps, a partial truth might be more believable than a complete lie. My name is still Alex, you say, and I have a personal interest in SCP-500. You pause, choosing your next words carefully. Someone I care about. They're very sick. I heard rumors about a cure. I followed those rumors, and they led me here. It's a desperate plea, playing on their potential empathy. You have no idea if these scientists have any compassion, but it's the only card you have left to play. The woman's expression softens slightly just for a moment. The younger woman still looks skeptical, but the man with glasses seems to be considering your words. Sick with what? The woman in the white coat asks, her voice a little less accusatory. You hesitate again. You can't name a specific disease, as SCP-500 cures everything. It's complicated, you say vaguely. A rare condition. The doctors say there's no hope. The woman looks at you for a long moment, her eyes searching for any sign of deception. You try to meet her gaze, to convey the desperation you feel. Finally, she sighs. All right, Alex, here's what's going to happen. You're going to come with me. We're going to have a conversation, and you're going to tell me everything. If I believe you, and if your information proves to be valuable, then we'll see what we can do. It's not a promise, but it's a chance. A slim one, but a chance nonetheless. You nod gratefully. Thank you, you say, your voice hoarse with relief. The woman gestures towards the door. Follow me. You follow her out of the lab, the eyes of the other two researchers watching you intently as you leave. You have no idea what awaits you, but for now, you've managed to avoid immediate capture. The journey to SCP-500 is far from over, but you've taken the first precarious step. The woman leads you down a different hallway, one that seems less sterile and more administrative. The walls are painted a neutral beige, and there are framed posters on the walls depicting safety protocols and organizational charts. You pass several closed doors with nameplates, hinting at the various personnel working within this facility. As you walk, the woman doesn't say anything, her silence adding to the tension. You can feel her assessing you, trying to determine if you're a genuine threat or just a desperate individual. You try to appear calm and cooperative, but your mind is racing. What will she ask you? What kind of conversation will this be? And what are the chances that she will actually help you? She stops in front of a nondescript door and uses a key card to open it. She gestures for you to enter. The room inside is a small, sparsely furnished office. There's a metal desk with a computer, a couple of chairs, and a bookshelf filled with technical manuals. It's functional but impersonal. "Sit down, Alex," she says, her voice still formal. She takes a seat behind the desk, her eyes fixed on you. You sit in the chair opposite her, feeling like you're being interrogated. The fluorescent lights hum overhead, adding to the sterile atmosphere. "Now," she begins, leaning forward slightly, "tell me everything. Start from the beginning. How did you hear about SCP-500, and how did you find this facility?" You take a deep breath and begin to recount a carefully crafted version of the truth, omitting the part about your initial intention to simply steal the pill. You tell her about the rumors you heard in the medical underground, whispers of a miracle cure held by a secretive organization. You explain your desperation, the lack of hope for your loved one's condition, and the lengths you were willing to go to find a solution. You describe your journey, the dead ends and false leads, until you finally stumbled upon a vague reference to a research facility in this region. You admit to sneaking onto the grounds, driven by desperation and a sliver of hope. As you speak, the woman listens intently, her expression unreadable. She occasionally asks clarifying questions, her tone neutral. You try to be as convincing as possible, emphasizing your genuine desire to help and your belief that your research, however theoretical, might hold a key to understanding SCP-500. When you finish your story, the room falls silent. The woman stares at you for a long moment, her eyes searching for any hint of deceit. You hold your breath, waiting for her judgment. "It's a compelling story, Alex," she says finally, her voice soft but still cautious. "But it's also highly improbable. You expect me to believe that you, with no apparent scientific background or security clearance, just happened to stumble upon a potential breakthrough in our research." You nod slowly. "I know it sounds unbelievable," you admit, "but sometimes the most unexpected sources can yield the most valuable insights. Desperation can drive a person to see things others might overlook." She sighs, rubbing her temples. "The security breach alone is a serious offense. I should call security right now." Your heart sinks. You knew this was a long shot. "Please," you plead, "just consider what I've told you. If even a small part of it is true, it could save lives, not just my loved ones, but countless others." She looks at you, a flicker of something, perhaps empathy, perhaps doubt, in her eyes. "And what exactly is this research of yours?" she asks. "Be specific." You try to recall any vaguely scientific-sounding information you might have encountered in your fictional research. You mention obscure botanical texts, ancient folklore referencing miraculous healing plants, and your interpretation of certain genetic anomalies observed in bioluminescent fungi. You know it sounds far-fetched, but you're hoping she's intrigued enough to investigate further. To your surprise, the woman leans back in her chair, a thoughtful expression on her face. "Bioluminescent fungi with unusual genetic structures," she murmurs, almost to herself. "That's an interesting angle, We haven't explored that specific avenue in depth. A sliver of hope sparks within you. Could she actually be considering your outlandish claims? Look, she says, turning back to you, I'm not saying I believe everything you've told me, but your theory does touch upon some preliminary data we've encountered regarding potential organic origins of SCP-500. It's a long shot, but it's not entirely outside the realm of possibility. Your hope intensifies. So, you'll consider it? She nods slowly. I'm willing to look into it, but in return, you need to cooperate fully. You'll answer all my questions truthfully, and you'll remain here under supervision until we can verify your claims. You agree immediately. Anything. I'll do anything. Good, she says. My name is Dr. Lena Hansen. I'm the lead researcher on Project Panacea, the code name for the SCP-500 synthesis efforts. You nod. It's an honor to meet you, Doctor Hansen. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Alex, she says, her tone still cautious. This is just the beginning. We have a lot to discuss, and your theories need to be substantiated. But if you're telling the truth, you might have just stumbled upon something significant. Over the next few hours, Dr. Hansen questions you extensively about your research. You do your best to elaborate on your fabricated theories, drawing on bits and pieces of scientific information you've picked up over time from documentaries and articles. To your surprise, Doctor, Hansen seems genuinely interested in some of your ideas, even if she remains skeptical. She makes some calls, instructing her team to look into the possibility of anomalous bioluminescent flora with unusual genetic structures, specifically in South America. You can sense a shift in the atmosphere. The initial suspicion hasn't completely vanished, but there's a growing sense of curiosity and possibility. As the hours pass, you find yourself in a strange position. You came here to steal a miracle cure, but you might end up contributing to the scientific understanding of it instead. It's a bizarre twist of fate, one you never could have predicted. The night wears on, and the conversation continues. Dr. Hansen is sharp and intelligent, but she also seems driven by a genuine desire to unlock the secrets of SCP-500. You realize that despite the Foundation's secrecy and strict protocols, the people working here are still scientists at heart, motivated by curiosity and the pursuit of knowledge. As the first hint of dawn begins to filter through the small window in Dr. Hansen's office, you feel a sense of exhaustion, but also a glimmer of hope. You're still a long way from obtaining SCP-500, but you've managed to get your foot in the door. Now you just need to convince Dr. Hansen that your outlandish theories might actually hold the key to a medical miracle. This whole experience is surreal. You broke into a top-secret facility based on a hunch, and now you're having a serious scientific discussion with the lead researcher. It's like that time you tried to fix your leaky faucet and accidentally ended up explaining quantum physics to your plumber. Life has a funny way of throwing curveballs. One thing you did learn tonight is that the SCP Foundation, while shrouded in secrecy, operates with a surprising degree of scientific rigor. They meticulously document and study every anomaly, no matter how bizarre. It's a testament to the human desire to understand the unknown, even when that unknown borders on the impossible. Days turn into a week. You find yourself in a small, sparsely furnished room within the facility. It's more comfortable than a cell, but you're under constant supervision. Dr. Hansen and her team are diligently investigating your claims about anomalous bioluminescent flora. They've pored over botanical databases, analyzed satellite imagery of remote regions in South America, and even consulted with outside experts in xenobotany. You spend your days answering more questions, trying to recall any detail, any fleeting thought that might lend credence to your theory. You realize how much of your research was based on vague interpretations and wishful thinking. However, you try to sound as convincing as possible, focusing on the unusual genetic markers you supposedly identified and the unique bioluminescent properties of these fictional plants. To your surprise, Doctor, Hansen's team starts to find some intriguing, albeit preliminary, data. They discover reports of unusual plant life in the Amazon rainforest with faint bioluminescence and trace amounts of compounds that bear a very distant resemblance to components found in SCP-500. It's not a direct match, not by a long shot, but it's enough to keep Dr. Hansen's interest piqued. It's still highly speculative, Alex, she tells you one afternoon, her brow furrowed as she examines a series of spectral analysis reports on her computer screen. The chemical signatures are weak, and the bioluminescence could be attributed to any number of known biological processes. But there are some anomalies we can't readily explain. A wave of relief washes over you. Your bluff, against all odds, seems to be working. Perhaps, you suggest, trying to sound like a knowledgeable collaborator, the key lies in the specific environmental conditions of these regions. The unique mineral composition of the soil, the atmospheric pressure, the interaction with other indigenous flora. Dr. Hansen nods slowly, considering your suggestion. That's a possibility. We're looking into soil samples and atmospheric data from those areas. It's a massive undertaking. During this time, you also learn more about SCP-500 itself. Dr. Hansen shares some fascinating, albeit strictly need-to-know, information. For instance, while it cures almost anything, it cannot bring back the dead or reverse aging beyond returning the subject to their optimal health. There have also been instances where SCP-500 interacted unexpectedly with other anomalies, producing unpredictable and sometimes dangerous results. This highlights why its use is so tightly controlled. One particularly strange detail you learn is that the number of SCP-500 pills in Foundation custody is surprisingly small, never exceeding a dozen at any given time. Whenever a pill is used, a new one inexplicably appears in its containment chamber after a seemingly random interval. The Foundation has never been able to determine the mechanism behind this spontaneous generation. Some speculate it's a form of self-replication, while others believe it might be linked to some unknown extra-dimensional source. This detail chills you slightly. The idea that these miracle pills just appear is unsettling. It adds another layer of mystery to an already enigmatic anomaly. As the days pass, you try to make yourself useful, offering any ideas or insights you can, even if they are based on your limited understanding. You spend hours reading Foundation documents related to anomalous botany and chemistry, trying to educate yourself and sound more credible. You even managed to crack a small joke during one of your debriefing sessions with Dr. Hansen. She was explaining the complex molecular structure of a compound found in one of the South American plants, and you quipped, "So it's basically alien spaghetti?" She actually chuckled, a rare sight, which made you feel a little more at ease. Maybe these scientists weren't so different from regular people after all, just dealing with much weirder stuff. However, the underlying tension remains. You are still a detainee, and your freedom hinges on whether your theories lead to a genuine breakthrough. Dr. Hansen is fair, but she is also bound by strict Foundation protocols. One evening, Dr. Hansen comes to your room looking particularly thoughtful. "Alex," she says, "we've received some preliminary reports back from the field teams we sent to South America. They've located several specimens of bioluminescent fungi that match your descriptions in some key aspects." Your heart leaps. "Really?" "Yes," she confirms. "The bioluminescence is faint but present, and the genetic analysis shows some unusual sequences. It's still a long way from anything resembling SCP-500, but it's a start. Your theoretical research, as you called it, has actually led us to something potentially new." A wave of triumph washes over you, quickly followed by a surge of guilt. You lied to her, but your lie inadvertently led to a potential scientific discovery. What? What does this mean?" you ask, trying to gauge her reaction. Dr. Hansen sighs. "It means you were either incredibly lucky, or you actually know something you're not telling us." Her gaze is sharp again. You decide to stick to your story, emphasizing your intuition and your dedication to finding a cure. You reiterate your desire to collaborate and contribute to their research. Dr. Hansen studies you for a long moment. Then she makes a decision that surprises you. "All right, Alex," she says, "I'm going to give you a chance. You've shown a remarkable intuition. You'll be granted provisional research access under strict supervision to assist our team. If your insights continue to prove valuable, we can discuss your situation further." You can barely contain your relief. This is more than you could have hoped for. You're not free, and you still haven't gotten anywhere near SCP-500, but you're now officially part of the research effort. This could be your opportunity to gain their trust and perhaps eventually gain access to the miracle cure you so desperately need. Over the next few weeks, you immerse yourself in the research. You work alongside Dr. Hansen's team, analyzing data, contributing ideas, and even assisting with experiments involving the newly discovered fungi. You learn a great deal about anomalous biology and the intricate processes the Foundation employs to study and contain these phenomena. You discover that the Foundation operates on a global scale, with numerous facilities dedicated to different types of anomalies. The level of secrecy is immense, with information compartmentalized and access granted only on a strict need-to-know basis. The sheer scope of the Foundation's work is staggering, a hidden world operating just beneath the surface of everyday reality. You also observe the ethical dilemmas the researchers face. They are constantly grappling with the potential benefits of the anomalies they study versus the inherent risks they pose. The containment protocols are not just about protecting the outside world. they are also about protecting the researchers themselves. One evening, while working late in the lab, you stumble upon a restricted file on Dr. Hansen's computer. Curiosity getting the better of you, you manage to briefly open it. The file contains information about previous attempts to synthesize SCP-500, all of which have ended in failure, some with catastrophic consequences. One experiment resulted in the creation of a volatile compound that nearly breached containment, while another produced a substance with unpredictable mutagenic properties. The file serves as a stark reminder of the immense power and potential danger of SCP-500. It reinforces why access is so tightly controlled and why the Foundation is so desperate to understand its origins and replicate its effects safely. This glimpse into the failed experiments also makes you realize the enormity of the task ahead. If even the Foundation's top scientists have struggled for years to synthesize SCP-500, what chance do you, a complete outsider, have of ever obtaining it? Despite these doubts, you press on, driven by your hope and your growing sense of responsibility towards the research. You may have started this journey with a lie, but you are beginning to feel a genuine commitment to understanding this anomaly and potentially unlocking its secrets. You even find yourself developing a grudging respect for Dr. Hansen. She is brilliant, dedicated, and surprisingly open-minded, despite your unconventional entry into her research team. You sense that she is driven by a deep sense of scientific curiosity and a desire to use SCP-500 for the greater good, if only they could figure out how it works. One day, Dr. Hansen calls you into her office. "Alex," she says, a serious expression on her face. "We've reached a critical point in our research on the South American fungi. The genetic analysis has revealed some truly unique sequences, unlike anything we've ever encountered. We believe they might hold a clue to the regenerative properties of SCP-500. Your heart quickens. This is it. This could be the breakthrough you've been hoping for. What do you need me to do?" you ask, eager to contribute. Dr. Hansen leans forward. "We need to conduct a series of in vivo experiments. We need to see how these fungal extracts affect living organisms." She pauses, her gaze meeting yours. "And I believe you might be able to offer a unique perspective on how to proceed." You realize this is a test. She's giving you a chance to prove your worth, to show that your initial intuition was more than just a lucky guess. "I'm ready," you say, your voice filled with determination. "Tell me what to do." This marks a new phase in your journey. You are no longer just a detainee. You are now an active participant in the research, on the verge of potentially unlocking one of the Foundation's greatest mysteries. But with this opportunity comes greater responsibility and greater risk. The secrets of SCP-500 are closely guarded for a reason, and delving deeper into its origins could have unforeseen consequences. Dr. Hansen outlines the experimental protocols. They involve creating extracts from the bioluminescent fungi and testing their effects on various biological samples, starting with cell cultures and eventually moving to animal models. Your role is to assist in the preparation of these extracts, analyze the initial data, and offer your insights into any unusual reactions or patterns. The work is meticulous and demanding. You spend hours in the lab, handling strange and often unsettling biological materials. The air is thick with the smell of chemical solutions and the low hum of scientific equipment. You see firsthand the dedication and precision required to study anomalies of this nature. As the experiments progress, you observe some intriguing results. The fungal extracts seem to stimulate cellular regeneration at an accelerated rate, even repairing damaged DNA in some of the cell cultures. It's not the miraculous healing of SCP-500, but it's a significant step in the right direction. Your hunch about the unique genetic structures might be correct, Alex, Dr. Hansen admits one evening, her voice filled with a mixture of excitement and caution as she examines the latest data. These extracts are exhibiting properties we haven't seen before. A sense of accomplishment washes over you. You, a complete outsider, have contributed to a potential breakthrough in one of the Foundation's most challenging research projects. However, there are also setbacks. Some of the extracts produce unexpected and adverse reactions in certain cell lines, causing rapid and uncontrolled growth. This highlights the delicate balance and potential dangers involved in manipulating anomalous biological materials. We need to proceed with extreme caution, Dr. Hansen emphasizes. We are treading into uncharted territory. We have no idea what the long-term effects of these compounds might be. As the research intensifies, you find yourself spending more and more time with Dr. Hansen. You discuss theories, analyze data, and even debate the ethical implications of their work. You begin to see her not just as a stern researcher, but as a brilliant and dedicated scientist driven by a genuine desire to understand the unknown and potentially alleviate human suffering. One late night in the lab, while waiting for an experiment to run, Dr. Hansen shares a personal story with you. She tells you about her younger sister, who suffered from a rare genetic disorder, a condition that modern medicine could only manage, not cure. You realize that her dedication to Project Panacea is not just professional, it's deeply personal. This revelation creates a new level of understanding and empathy between you. You both share a desire to find cures for seemingly incurable conditions, albeit through very different paths. As the animal trials begin, the results are even more promising, but also more complex. In some cases, the fungal extracts accelerate healing and tissue regeneration in the test subjects. However, in others, they trigger unpredictable immune responses or cause the development of unusual growths. The research team is divided. Some are excited by the potential, while others are concerned about the risks. Dr. Hansen remains cautiously optimistic, emphasizing the need for further research and rigorous testing. You find yourself in a unique position, having gained the trust of the research team to some extent. You offer your perspective, drawing on your intuitive understanding of the anomaly and your growing knowledge of their scientific methods. One day, you propose a new approach based on a subtle pattern you observed in the genetic sequences of the fungi and their interaction with certain proteins in the test animals. Your idea is initially met with skepticism, but Dr. Hansen decides it's worth exploring. To everyone's surprise, your approach yields a significant breakthrough. By modifying the extraction process and targeting specific protein interactions, they manage to isolate a compound that exhibits enhanced regenerative properties with fewer adverse side effects. The lab erupts in a mixture of excitement and disbelief. Dr. Hansen looks at you with a newfound respect in her eyes. "Alex," she says, "you might have just given us the key we've been looking for." For the first time since you arrived at the facility, you feel a genuine sense of hope, not just for your loved one, but for the potential of this research to benefit countless others. However, just as things seem to be looking up, a new development throws everything into uncertainty. A high-level containment breach occurs in another sector of the facility, triggering alarms and a facility-wide lockdown. The sterile hallways, once just a backdrop to your research, now feel charged with a palpable sense of danger. Security personnel in heavy tactical gear rush past the lab. The air is filled with the sound of sirens and urgent announcements over the intercom. Dr. Hansen looks at you, her expression grim. "We need to secure the lab immediately. Whatever is happening, it's serious." You realize that your personal quest for a cure has become intertwined with something much larger and much more dangerous than you could have ever imagined. The SCP Foundation is not just about miraculous cures, it's about containing threats to reality itself. And now, one of those threats has escaped. As you and Dr. Hansen work to secure your research and the precious fungal samples, you can't help but wonder what kind of horrors lie beyond the lab walls and how this breach will affect your chances of ever obtaining the one thing you came here for, SCP-500. The delicate balance you've found yourself in is about to be shattered, and the future is more uncertain than ever. This whole situation is like trying to bake a cake and suddenly realizing your kitchen is on fire. You were so focused on the recipe, you didn't notice the impending disaster. It just goes to show you can't get too comfortable, especially not in a place where the impossible is just another Tuesday. One thing is for sure, whatever has breached containment is likely far more dangerous than a stubborn red pill. And in the chaos that is about to unfold, the fate of your research, and perhaps even your own safety, hangs precariously in the balance. The lockdown plunges the facility into a state of controlled chaos. Red emergency lights flash in the hallways, casting long, distorted shadows. The rhythmic pulse of the alarms is a constant reminder of the imminent danger. Dr. Hansen and her team work quickly, securing their research data and the samples of the anomalous fungi. You assist them, your initial fear giving way to a strange sense of urgency and shared purpose. "We need to get to a secure location," Dr. Hansen shouts over the din of the alarms. Level 5 lockdown protocols are in effect. That means... She trails off, her expression grim. "That means what?" You press, your heart pounding in your chest. "That means whatever breached containment is extremely dangerous. We need to reach Sector 7. It's a reinforced area designed for high-threat scenarios." You follow Dr. Hansen and the remaining members of her team through the increasingly chaotic corridors. You pass security personnel armed with specialized weaponry, moving in the opposite direction, their faces grim and determined. The air crackles with tension. As you navigate the labyrinthine hallways, you hear muffled sounds, distant roars, the screech of metal, and the unmistakable sound of gunfire. Whatever has escaped is causing significant damage. What do you think it is?" You ask Dr. Hansen, trying to keep your voice steady. She shakes her head, her eyes focused on the path ahead. I don't know. There are dozens of Keter-class anomalies housed in this facility. Any one of them could cause this level of disruption. The thought sends a shiver down your spine. Keter-class. You remember reading about them, entities and phenomena so dangerous and difficult to contain that they pose a direct threat to normalcy and human life. You finally reach the entrance to Sector 7, a heavy blast door sealed with multiple locks and reinforced plating. A security officer stands guard, his weapon raised. Dr. Hansen quickly identifies herself, and after a tense moment of verification, the door slides open, revealing a more secure, albeit still tense, environment inside. Sector 7 is a self-contained area with its own power grid and life support systems. Researchers and security personnel move with a focused efficiency, monitoring security feeds and preparing for potential threats. Inside a secure observation room, you and Dr. Hansen watch the chaos unfold on the monitors. Security teams are engaging something in one of the lower levels of the facility. The images are grainy and distorted, but you can make out a large, shadowy figure moving with incredible speed and causing widespread destruction. They're saying it's SCP-682, a technician murmurs, his eyes wide with fear. The hard-to-destroy reptile. Dr. Hansen pales visibly. 682? That's catastrophic. You remember reading about SCP-682, a massive reptilian creature with incredible regenerative abilities and a deep-seated hatred for all life. It has breached containment multiple times and is considered one of the most dangerous anomalies in Foundation custody. The lockdown continues for what feels like an eternity. You and Dr. Hansen remain in Sector 7, monitoring the situation and waiting for news. The fate of the facility and everyone inside it hangs in the balance. During this tense waiting period, your thoughts drift back to your original goal, SCP-500. In the face of such overwhelming danger, the desire for a single red pill seems almost trivial. Yet the desperation for a cure for your loved one remains a persistent ache. You realize the irony of the situation. You came to this dangerous place seeking a miracle, and now you're trapped in the middle of a potential catastrophe. As the hours pass, you learn that the Foundation's containment teams are struggling to subdue SCP-682. Its regenerative abilities make it incredibly difficult to neutralize, and its aggression is relentless. Suddenly, an idea strikes you. You remember reading in the SCP-500 documentation about its ability to cure any biological ailment. Could it work on SCP-682? Could it somehow neutralize its regenerative properties or its aggression? You voice your idea to Dr. Hansen, half expecting her to dismiss it as ludicrous. But to your surprise, she considers it seriously. It's a long shot, she says, her brow furrowed in thought. But we're running out of options. If 682 breaches Sector 7, we're all in serious danger. The problem, of course, is accessing SCP-500. Its containment chamber is likely in a heavily compromised area. I know where it is, you say, your voice surprisingly steady. I was there before all this happened. Dr. Hansen looks at you, a mixture of surprise and disbelief on her face. You were at SCP-500's containment chamber? Why? You hesitate for a moment, then decide to tell her the truth about your initial intention to steal the pill, about your desperation to save your loved one. To your surprise, Doctor, Hansen doesn't react with anger or condemnation. Instead, she looks at you with a strange mixture of understanding and resignation. So, she says slowly, you risked everything for a chance at a miracle, and now that same miracle might be our only hope. She makes a quick decision. All right, Alex, you're going to guide a security team to SCP-500. If we can retrieve it, we'll try to use it on 682. It's a desperate plan, but it's all we have left. You are quickly outfitted with a protective vest and a communication device. A heavily armed security team is assigned to escort you. The atmosphere is tense, the stakes impossibly high. You lead the team through the ravaged corridors, the sounds of destruction still echoing in the distance. The facility is in lockdown, but parts of it have been severely damaged. You see overturned equipment, breached containment chambers, thankfully empty, and signs of SCP-682's destructive rampage. Finally, you reach the hallway leading to SCP-500's containment chamber. The door is still intact, but the surrounding walls show signs of damage. The keypad is still functional. The code? The security team leader asks. You shake your head. I don't know it. The team leader produces a breaching charge. We'll do it the hard way. With a loud bang, the door is blown open. Inside the containment chamber is a small, sterile room. On a pedestal in the center sits a single red pill. The security team moves quickly to secure the pill. As they do, a tremor shakes the facility. The sounds of roaring and destruction are getting closer. We need to go now, the team leader shouts. You grab the red pill. It feels surprisingly light in your hand, and follow the security team back through the damaged facility. You can feel the presence of SCP-682 getting closer, its raw power and destructive intent almost palpable. You meet up with Dr. Hansen and a heavily armed containment unit in a more secure area. The plan is desperate. Someone needs to get close enough to SCP-682 to administer the pill. You look at the small, red capsule in your hand. You came here to take it for someone else, but now it might be the only thing that can save everyone. Without a word, you step forward. I'll do it, you say, your voice surprisingly calm. I know how to get close. Dr. Hansen looks at you, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and respect. Alex, are you sure? You nod. You've come this far, faced your own desperation and the Foundation's secrets. You might as well see it through to the end. The containment team provides you with a distraction, creating an opening for you to approach SCP-682. The creature is a terrifying sight, massive, armored, and filled with primal rage. You move quickly, dodging its massive limbs and snapping jaws. It seems almost impossible to get close enough. Just as SCP-682 lunges towards you, you throw the red pill into its open maw. There's a moment of tense silence. SCP-682 freezes, its eyes fixed on you. Then it begins to convulse. Its massive body twitches and spasms. Strange growths appear and disappear on its armored hide. The containment team opens fire, taking advantage of its disorientation. Slowly, the convulsions subside. SCP-682 lies still. It doesn't appear to be dead, but it is different. Its regenerative abilities seem to be suppressed. Its aggressive behavior has ceased. The facility slowly begins to return to a semblance of order. The lockdown is lifted, and the cleanup begins. You are hailed as a hero, the unlikely individual who played a crucial role in containing one of the Foundation's most dangerous anomalies. However, your own situation remains unresolved. You still technically breached containment and lied to Foundation personnel. Dr. Hansen approaches you, her expression thoughtful. Alex, she says, what you did was incredibly brave, and it likely saved countless lives. The O5 Council is aware of your actions. You wait for the inevitable consequences. In light of your contribution, Dr. Hansen continues, in the extenuating circumstances, they are willing to make an arrangement. Your loved one will receive a dose of a synthesized compound based on your research, a derivative of the fungal extracts that shows great promise. In return, she pauses. In return, you will work with us. You have a unique intuition, a valuable perspective. You will become a consultant, assisting us with our research into anomalous biology. You look at her, stunned. This is more than you could have ever hoped for. I accept, you say, your voice filled with gratitude. Your journey into the world of the SCP Foundation has taken a bizarre and unexpected turn. You came seeking a cure, and you found yourself in the middle of a containment breach, ultimately playing a key role in saving the facility. Now, you have a new purpose, a chance to use your unique abilities to help understand the very anomalies that once terrified you. The path ahead is still uncertain, filled with the strange and the unknown. But for the first time, you feel a sense of hope, not just for your loved one, but for your own future in this extraordinary and dangerous world. This whole experience has been a wild ride, hasn't it? From sneaking around like a clumsy spy to facing down a monster that makes Godzilla look like a gecko, you've definitely had a night to remember. You probably won't find any of this in a sleep meditation app, that's for sure. And you know what the weirdest part is? That red pill, the one you risked everything for, the one that ultimately helped save the day. There's still only one in its containment chamber. Another one just appeared. Some mysteries, it seems, are destined to remain mysteries. Now, let your mind drift. The tension of the past hour begins to fade, the images of shadowy corridors and monstrous creatures softening around the edges. Breathe deeply in and slowly out. Feel the weight of your body sinking into your bed, supported and comfortable. The sounds of the night outside become a gentle murmur, a soothing backdrop to your thoughts. Imagine a calm, still lake reflecting the soft glow of the moon. The water is smooth and undisturbed, mirroring the peacefulness you are starting to feel. Each breath you take is like a gentle ripple on the surface, expanding outwards and then fading away, leaving the water even calmer than before. Let go of any lingering thoughts or worries from the day. They are like leaves floating on the surface of the lake, carried away by the gentle current. You don't need to hold on to them, simply observe them as they drift away, further and further into the distance. Your eyelids feel heavy, your limbs relaxed. The world around you fades into a soft, indistinct blur. There is nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be. Just allow yourself to sink deeper into this feeling of tranquility, this quiet space where your mind can finally rest. The story is over for now. The mysteries of the SCP Foundation will wait for another night. For now, allow yourself to drift into sleep, safe and secure in your own world. Sweet dreams.